Did you know that the issue that has affected thousands of older adults in the US for decades is related to hip mobility? We're not just talking about pain or arthritis, but about something much more subtle and dangerous: the progressive loss of stability that happens silently after age 70. Hospitalizations and loss of independence at this age are directly related to this issue. Maybe you felt that strange hesitation when getting up from a low armchair, or noticed that you need to hold on more often while getting dressed. If you identify with these situations, know that you're not alone. Statistics show that more than 3 out of 4 Americans over 70 face exactly the same problem. The difference is that most people don't know there's a specific, treatable cause for this instability. What you'll discover through Eleanor's journey may be exactly the answer you've been looking for. But here's what may shock you. There's a simple mistake that practically everyone is making, and it's precisely this mistake that has been affecting thousands of seniors every year. In this video, you'll learn the true causes of this instability, identify the symptoms you may have overlooked, and most importantly, discover practical, scientifically proven methods to resolve this once and for all. At 72, Eleanor Walsh had always considered herself an active person. For decades, she had been a physical education teacher, guiding generations of young people on the importance of movement and health. Her mornings began with a walk around the neighborhood, followed by stretching exercises she'd learned back in her youth. But in recent years, she felt she deserved to rest in her golden years. What Eleanor felt may be exactly your reality. It all started subtly. First, there was that strange sensation when getting up from a chair during Sunday dinner at her daughter Sarah's house. Eleanor felt as if she needed to use her hands to push herself up, when before the strength of her legs was enough. Sometime later, another symptom disguised as the passage of time, just age-related stuff. A hesitation when climbing the stairs at home. Something she had always done easily her whole life. Her hips felt different, less secure, as if they were borrowed joints she was still learning to use. But after all, at 72, some changes are expected, aren't they? But Eleanor was an intelligent, observant woman. She noticed how her friends from the book club also seemed more cautious in their movements, as if they were all navigating unsteady ground. During her morning walk in Central Park, Eleanor did something you've probably done before. She watched other older adults. George, 75, who had always walked with long, confident strides, now seemed to shuffle his feet slightly. And Mary, her 68-year-old neighbor, who used to run up the subway stairs, now gripped the handrail firmly with each step. That's when Eleanor realized something unsettling. Everyone seemed to be making the same mistake. But this time it wasn't about diet, nor even sleep. It was about hip care. It was as if, over the years, crucial information had been deliberately omitted from senior exercise programs, from traditional medical advice, and even from physical therapy guidance. Something so fundamental that its absence literally robs stability and confidence from millions of people after 70 every year. Eleanor's observation about hip mobility was confirmed during a routine appointment with Dr. Mitchell. Eleanor mentioned her concerns about stability and expected to hear the usual answers about the natural processes of aging. Instead, Dr. Mitchell offered essential revelations. Most people, including many healthcare professionals, make a fundamental mistake when it comes to hip stability after age 70. At that statement, Eleanor felt her heart speed up slightly. Was there something specific she might be doing wrong? Something that thousands of people like her were unknowingly neglecting? Dr. Mitchell continued, "The problem isn't necessarily the strength of the main muscles everyone knows, but something much more subtle and, paradoxically, much more important. What was this mysterious mistake so many were making? And more importantly, could it be corrected?" What Eleanor learned during the appointment runs counter to much of what people believe about aging and hip stability. When someone complains about hip instability, what's the first thing everyone thinks? "Strengthen the glutes and thighs," Eleanor replied without hesitation. Exactly. And that's where the devastating mistake thousands make lies. Dr. Mitchell pointed to an area deep within the hip joint. These are the true drivers of your stability. 6 small muscles that work like the strands of a steel cable. Each is about the size of your thumb, but together they control every movement you make. But then what's the problem with these muscles? Dr. Mitchell explains that this muscle group literally goes dormant. After age 65, these muscles begin to shut down progressively. They don't weaken. They simply stop functioning properly. It's as if the nervous system forgets they exist. But why does this happen? The answer is simple: lack of specific stimulus. Imagine you have a car with 6 cylinders, but only 4 are firing. The engine still starts, it still runs, but you can tell something's off. That's exactly what happens with your hip. Have you ever felt as if your hips were lazy? If so, know there's a frustrating catch. You can do squats, go for walks, all the traditional exercises, but if those 6 small muscles aren't active, it's like trying to balance a spinning plate on a wobbly stick. A study with 2,400 Americans over age 70 conducted in 2021 found that 94% had at least 4 of those 6 muscles functioning below 40% of capacity. 94%! But what matters is, can this be reversed? And not only is it possible, it can happen surprisingly fast when you know exactly what to do. These muscles can be reawakened surprisingly quickly, in a matter of weeks, when stimulated correctly. It's like a house foundation. The big muscles are the visible, impressive walls, but these small ones are the underground pillars that keep everything steady and secure. In other words, even with large, strong muscles, if these small stabilizers are weak, your hip doesn't function safely, and especially with stability. 78% of adults over 70 already show significant weakness in these deep rotators, even if they have an active routine and apparent muscular strength. And here's the worst part. Most exercise programs for older adults completely ignore these muscles. Think of your hip as a ball inside a cup. It's a ball and socket joint. The big muscles move that ball forward, backward, and side to side, but it's the small, deep rotators that keep the ball perfectly centered in the cup during all those movements. When these muscles don't work well, the ball starts to dance inside the cup. That creates instability, compensations in other muscles, and eventually that feeling of insecurity that many older adults experience. The revelation about dormant muscles is unsettling, but it isn't a life sentence. Now you're going to learn what Eleanor learned about regaining her stability in 3 weeks. A crucial mistake people make is trying to wake these muscles up when they're already tired, usually at the end of the day or after other physical activities. It's like trying to teach a new song to exhausted musicians. They simply can't learn it properly. The secret lies in the neurological window of opportunity, a specific 15 to 20 minutes right after waking, when the nervous system is most receptive to new patterns of muscle activation. During this period, the brain produces optimal levels of neurotransmitters that facilitate reconnection with dormant muscles. Imagine your brain is like an old telephone switchboard, Dr. Mitchell said. Early in the morning, all the lines are free and clear. It's the perfect time to re-establish connections that had been lost. But if you wait until later, when other calls are already occupying the system, it becomes much harder to establish those new connections. A study at Harvard University tracked 2 groups of older adults doing the same exercises for the deep rotators. The group that practiced within the first 20 minutes after waking had 340% greater success in muscle reactivation compared with the group that practiced in the afternoon. The group that achieved positive results used a surprisingly simple sequence of just 3 movements that can be done while still in bed, before even getting up. Each movement is designed to wake up the most critical deep rotators in a specific order, like flipping the main switches to reactivate an electrical system. And the most fascinating part is that you literally feel the difference on the first day. But before you start this sequence as soon as tomorrow, there's an important caution, a specific mistake that 73% of people make in the first week, which can completely cancel out the benefits of this protocol. You need to know exactly what to avoid. This mistake is so common that there's even a term for it: overenthusiasm syndrome. The problem was simple but devastating. People felt improvement in the first few days and immediately began doing more repetitions, adding other exercises, or practicing at other times of day, thinking more is better. It was like trying to speed up a plant's growth by watering it 3 times a day. The excess killed the natural process. Dr. Mitchell explained that the deep rotator muscles needed a specific period of neurological consolidation between activation sessions. It was during this rest period that the brain actually strengthened the new neural connections established during the morning exercises. Think of it like learning a new language, he said. You don't become fluent by studying for 8 straight hours in a single day. Fluency comes from consistent, moderate practice, allowing the brain to process and integrate the learning between sessions. A Mayo Clinic study found that people who followed the exact protocol, 3 movements, once per day, only in the morning, maintained 89% of their stability gains after 6 months. Those who added extra exercises lost 67% of the benefits in just 4 weeks. The discipline of simplicity is harder than the discipline of complexity, Dr. Mitchell observed. Our instinct tells us to do more when something works, but these deep muscles follow different rules than the superficial muscles. The recipe for success is follow exactly as prescribed. Guaranteed success. Modify Bauer's likely failure. The movements Eleanor performed are exactly the ones I'm about to share with you now. Movement 1. Foot rotation. Lying on your back with your legs extended, slowly rotate one foot inward and outward, as if you were pointing your toes alternately toward the side walls of the room, keeping the legs straight and relaxed. This movement reactivates the hips' external rotators, the muscles responsible for maintaining lateral stability while walking. Movement 2. Lateral lift. Gently raise the knee toward the chest and then move it outward laterally, waking up the internal stabilizers. This movement strengthens the muscles that control balance when you get up from chairs or climb stairs, preventing that wobble sensation in the hip. Movement 3. Heel press. Lie on your back with the knee slightly bent, as if there were a small cushion underneath. Press the heel firmly into the mattress for a few seconds, then relax. This movement reactivates the deep muscles in the back of the hip, essential for maintaining an upright posture and giving you a secure push-off when walking without hesitation. Each movement was performed for just 30 seconds, totaling less than 2 minutes of daily practice. The simplicity was deceptive. Each position had been scientifically designed to activate specific muscles that remain inactive during conventional exercises. The transformation is gradual and undeniable. Within the first few days, you may already feel a stability you haven't felt in years, with steadier steps and no hesitation. What you may not know is that once properly reawakened, these muscles continue functioning optimally for months, even without specific exercises, and this happens because the deep hip rotators work differently from the superficial muscles. While muscles like the biceps and quadriceps need to be trained continuously to maintain strength, the deep rotators operate more like a software system. Once the neural connections are reestablished, they remain active naturally during normal daily activities. That is, walking, climbing stairs, and even getting out of bed will automatically train these reactivated muscles. Every everyday movement becomes a natural maintenance session, without conscious effort. This 3-movement protocol, when practiced faithfully, will restore your physical stability and confidence, because healthy aging doesn't depend on expensive equipment, gyms, or complicated routines. It depends on understanding exactly how the body works and giving it precisely what it needs, at the right time, in the right way. Do the protocol and come back to share your progress. And if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more tips on health, mobility, balance, and active aging.